Welcome to Super Bowl Sunday, the second most sacred day of the year after Christmas. This is, as far as many Americans are concerned, is one of the most holiest days of the year. Look, honey, I've been to church. I will go to church. The Bible is written. The story is there. And the Word was with God. The Word was made flesh. He intended to come down and save us, and He saved us. But you see, honey, I have to be in front of the television all weekend long, watching everything that there is on football. Every Super Bowl that has ever been played since the dawn of time, since the world began, even though American football is only in America, only country in the world. The Super Bowl, the day when men can eat food that will never pass through their colon ever, designed for me to grab and eat while my eyes are focused on the game at all times. If I don't focus on the game, and if I didn't start focusing on the game 2 weeks ago, glued to the screen, they might lose. Psychically projecting plays in my head that they should make. And I'm trying very hard to concentrate. I cannot be concerned about utensils. I just need to grab, eat, and focus, because if my concentration is broken for 1 second, that play will fail. It's like a surgery, brain surgery. This is like life or death. You don't understand. And the church will always be there. Christmas will always come. Easter will always come. The story is there in the book. Thank God, in that book. But the Super Bowl is never the same. It's never the same teams. It's never the same plays. It's never the same players. It will never be the same way again. It's like a snowflake or a sunset, which look exactly the same to me. Once you've seen a sunset, you've seen a sunset. Bad comparison. But it's the Super Bowl. It will never be the same. Ever. Each one is unique. Yes, just like my children. Each one of them are unique and precious, and I love them, and I love you, honey. But you gotta understand. There's goods and bads on both teams. And I got a soft spot for the LA Rams. And I'll tell you the reason why. Rams, the greatest football movie that's ever been made. But first we're gonna start with the Pats. This is almost like Democrats and Republicans. Two candidates. People hate the Patriots because they win a lot. And Brady is really, really good. He really, honest to God, is the best quarterback that has ever lived. Why is that? Why should you hate him so? Well, some people hate him because he came out for Trump originally, right? But he's kind of regressed on that one because the whole putting your hand over your heart and standing up while the anthem is being played thing. He kind of didn't like what Trump said. So he kind of walked that back, but he has to because he could lose a lot of money. This really is about money. The bottom line, it's about money. The NFL, it's about money. It's not really about winning games. But anyway, we put that aside, kind of like Christmas, which is also about money. And we enjoy Christmas for the other reasons why we enjoy Christmas. The Rankin Bass claymation Christmas specials. That's why we have Christmas every year. Okay. And the lights. And Brady is like a Spartan warrior. He gets up at 4:55 every morning, and he exercises, and he eats his avocado ice cream, and then he watches plays all day. He studies every single play. every single player. His mind is always working. He's extremely intelligent. His wife, Giselle, knows where that man is, what he is doing at every moment of the day. His day is so regulated. He goes to bed at a certain time at night. He doesn't go out and party. He doesn't take days off. And unlike the other players who do take time off and relax and have fun, he doesn't. And it keeps his body so pure and so fit. It's insanity. He's in his 40s and he's still playing. Apparently he's doing something right. Not only is he good and he's smart, I mean a good player and smart, he's so regimented and he eats perfectly. It's something that Americans will never do ever again. Ever. And he's the last one. And a lot of people hate him because of that, because he's so good, and because the Patriots are so successful. That really isn't a reason to hate anybody. Whole Deflate Gate thing, that was a bunch of baloney. I'll tell you that right now. When the ball was deflated, was not fully inflated, they were losing the game. When they fully inflated the ball, then they started winning the game. That does not mean he wanted an underinflated ball. What that whole controversy was, there was 2008. I'm going to really get into the particulars here. I think it was 2008. They won every single game. Was it 17 games or 16 games? I forget. I'm a girl. There's some things that I'm not going to get right. But I'm going to get the right things right, the things that actually matter. They won every single game. And it used to be about 20 years ago, the season was shorter. They played less games. So technically, they played enough games that if it was 20 years ago, they would have already won the Super Bowl. But there's a reason why they didn't win the Super Bowl, and they couldn't win the Super Bowl. And it was sometimes things are fixed. And I'll tell you, horse racing is still fixed, by the way. My family used to work, my father's side, extremely poor, short people. Well, he's not, mostly short people, because they were really impoverished from Quebec. And so they got into working with the horses, wanting to be a jockey, but wasn't short enough to be a jockey. There's stories that I've heard about how they used to fix races. So sometimes things are fixed, or the call comes down saying, you gotta throw this game. But it isn't like it's designed to throw the game. 2008, might not remember this, but if you hate the Patriots, you will remember this. And it had nothing to do with the players. This is Brady or any of the other players had nothing to do with it. The owners, the guys who were running the show did this. They filmed the Dallas Cowboys practice sessions. And that's bad because there's things that you might see or figure out, and that way you know how to play differently, right? So basically they won every game, but they were told if you want to lose everything and your entire record be wiped out for the year and be heavily fined, you will throw this Super Bowl. Brady was much younger, obviously much better shape. He's much younger, winning every game. These guys are pumped up. I mean, the endorphins are really pumping away. And you are ready to reach perfection at this point. The plays, the brilliance of that whole season, there's no way they would have lied. Nothing. How could you say that? Anything could happen. They were tired. No. They were in tip-top shape. Something happened. They did something illegal. So from the top down, throw this game. And then the whole Deflate Gate thing was kind of like a hangover of that. They decided, we should really fine these people. People hate the Patriots. The way we can get the people to love the NFL, because at that time, they were still bleeding fans. I mean, interest in football was getting less. Hard to believe if you're a real diehard football fan. Hard to believe. My father loves the game because I remember sitting with him the year that New Orleans, they were in gold uniforms. See, I'm a woman. There's things I don't know, but I do remember. I've got a little headache today. I do remember he was looking. It was the first game that they played, beginning of the season. This is the pre-game things. And he's looking at it, and he's studying this. And he just said out loud, and I remembered it. They're going to go all the way this year. These guys are going to win the Super Bowl. And I happened to be out of town when the Super Bowl was playing. And I was totally clueless about the entire season. I had no idea who was even going to be in the Super Bowl. I was with a boyfriend, and the parents and their friends were watching the Super Bowl. And then, oh my God, they won. And I said, my father predicted this. The first game, just he saw how they were playing. He predicted this. Amazing. Why didn't he put money on it? Getting back to the Patriots. So Deflate Gate was a bunch of baloney. And they lost last year. Why is it that they lost last year? This is a no-brainer. Everybody hates the Patriots because they win. It's kind of like the Red Sox and the Yankees. They hate each other. The fans of each team hate each other. It goes back to the Bambino, the curse of the Bambino. When they sold Babe Ruth to buy stock in a musical you've never heard of, No No Nanette. Believe it or not, I've seen it. A high school production. The worst frickin' thing that's ever... I mean, as bad as musicals can be, and they can be very bad as plays. No No Nanette wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth selling the Bambino for that. Last year, the whole kneeling controversy. It was, are you American or are you not American? People were burning their jerseys. The stands were, you could see that every seat looked red. There was nobody in the stands. This was serious. The NFL was bleeding fans, bleeding money. It looked like in a matter of a couple of years, they were going to close up shop. Interesting thing about this, I'm going to throw this in for you to know, and this whole kneeling thing and not wanting to pledge allegiance to America. There are reasons why you actually should pledge allegiance to America. You can disagree with me, but I'll throw these couple reasons out for you, and you can mull that over. First of all, the NFL gets money from the government. These stands are paid by the government. So, in a way, you get paid tens of millions of dollars. You're not impoverished on the street, and the tens of millions of dollars you could probably put back into the community and help a lot of poor people with that, couldn't you? But the government is actually supporting you, and you wouldn't have this job at all if it wasn't for the fact that billions of dollars go into building these stadiums from the government. Plus, you would not have any money at all if it wasn't for America. You wouldn't have the profession you have because you have a special talent for this particular profession. Everybody's got their talent, that they're really good at a certain profession. America is the only country in the world that has football. Everywhere else in the world it's called football, but we call it soccer. Completely different game, no padding, no helmets. They're completely exposed, and they hit the ball with their head, and they use their whole body. Soccer is as pansy as you might think it is, a European pansy sport. It's actually an art. Of course, my grandfather hated American football. He could not understand it. They're running with the ball. They're throwing the ball. Why do you call it football? This is not football. But you would not have your job if it wasn't for America. Because this is American football. So to thank America for having the superstardom, the money that you have, the fame, the adoration of the crowd, it's because this is the only country in the world that has that sport. Okay, there's two reasons I've given you. Plus, when you pledge allegiance to the flag, you're not pledge allegiance to the government, even though the government is giving you money, but the government is actually the people. The government runs on tax money from the people. And who are the people of America? They're your fans. And when you get to the Super Bowl, people who, if their team is not in the Super Bowl, they're going to be rooting, they're going to divide their loyalties between two teams, and they could be rooting for you even though you're not their team. They're still going to be behind you. God, the flag represents the people of America. It represents you, it represents your family, your friends, your neighborhood, the people you grew up with. That's what you pledge allegiance to be. I'm going to be in solidarity with the people of America. Most of the people are good. We voted Barack Obama in twice, didn't we? So how many racists out there are there really? Twice, and he won overwhelmingly. It was a movement. So how racist could this country be? And Michelle Obama, she's so beautiful and dresses so well, and people adored the Obamas. So how many racists out there could there possibly be? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to think that way. So the majority of the country has to be good, right? There wouldn't be any country left. People would be so violent and so evil and so racist. There'd be very few people left in this country. So the people who are holding this country up are the majority good people, right? That's who you're pledging your allegiance to, the fans. Okay. We were seeing the end days of the NFL, and they knew it. You've got two teams. Both made it to the Super Bowl. I would say the Patriots made it to the Super Bowl, didn't cheat. They really got there. But you've got one team that everybody hates for no reason, really, just because they're very good. And after Brady goes and Belichick goes, they'll be bad. Everybody goes up and everybody goes down. Everybody's got their heyday. Egypt, Rome, China, all these countries, they all have their heyday, and then they all go down. Okay, so this is not going to last much longer. No reason to really hate them. They're good at the moment. There's a reason why they're good at the moment. I told you about that already. So the NFL knows you've got two teams. You've got the Eagles, underdogs, haven't won the Super Bowl, and then you've got the Patriots, which everybody hates. And the country is fuming. Fans of the NFL just hate the NFL because of this whole kneeling thing. And there are people like my father that there's no way on God's green earth that he's going to not watch football. There's no way. It doesn't matter what happens. He has to watch football. That's all there is to it. But they saw their dying days. And if the Patriots won, that would have been that. That would have been the end of the NFL. It would be the end of American football. Because people were really hating on the NFL. And they hate the bit. So they couldn't do that. Brady, if you are coming up to the Super Bowl, it's not just you're keeping yourself in peak condition all year long, every moment of the day, but you're coming up to the Super Bowl. Brady was like George Costanza. This is how he has to live his life. He was like George Costanza when George became the hand model. And those beautiful, he used to go around with oven mitts. Well, this is what Brady has to do before the Super Bowl, throughout the whole season. Because he needs his throwing. He's not going to go and do he did some odd job around the house and cut the hand he throws the ball with. Really, Brady is doing odd jobs around the house when every moment of the day is dedicated to keeping himself in shape and mentally knowing every single play of every single player and every single frailty and strength of every single player. There's no way he's doing an odd job. And then he throws it the wrong way. That was a call from the top to throw the game. You have to throw the game. We're going to let you be in the Super Bowl because that's good. Getting to the Super Bowl, that's good. That's good already. But you cannot win it. He had to throw it for the sake of the sport itself. So let's go to the LA Rams. Here's the soft spot I have for the LA Rams. LA Rams are back in LA, for one thing. And the reason why I'm happy about that is because of a movie. Movie in the 1970s, I think it might have been 1975. Warren Beatty, Julie Christie, James Mason, Buck Henry. Buck Henry used to be one of the writers on SNL. That's back when SNL was actually good. If you ever see any of the old episodes, they were very good at one point. It's called Heaven Can Wait. And it was a remake from an old movie. And God, please, Hollywood, do not remake this movie. It's perfect as it is. It was beautifully done. It's like when they remade Willy Wonka. I was about to gouge my eyes out of my head. Heaven Can Wait is about Joe Pendleton. Warren Beatty plays Joe Pendleton. He's 100% sure he's going to make it to the Super Bowl. And he's the quarterback, and he's going to win the Super Bowl. And his magic potion is liver and waist shakes. He plays a clarinet horribly. His good friend is this coach. And he's convinced this coach, he always comes to visit him, he's going to win the Super Bowl. And he's training, he gets on his bike one day, and he goes into a tunnel, and all of a sudden you hear a crash. And then you see him walking through clouds with his sweatsuit and his clarinet. And beside him is Buck Henry. He's in a suit, and he's taking him to the way station. Where am I going? This is some crazy dream. Taking you to the way station. You've died. I mean, I've died. I'm going to the Super Bowl. I haven't died. They get to the plane, and there's the stewardess. The people are going into the plane. This is a way station that brings you to your final destination, obviously heaven or hell. But Joe said, no, I am not dead. I am going to the Super Bowl. I am going to be the quarterback that's going to win the Super Bowl. So James Mason, one of the most beautiful voices Hollywood ever produced, from England. I think his name is Mr. Jordan. Yeah. So Buck Henry is saying, Mr. Jordan, this man will not get on the plane. He will not go to his final destination. He insists he is not supposed to be dead. James Mason said, Joe, you are dead. You must go on the plane to reach your final destination. You have that wonderful English voice. And Joe says, no, check your books. You're wrong. As it turns out, he was right. And Mr. Jordan said this man must be putting his body back in his body immediately. They take him down. Tough luck. He's been cremated. So they have to find him a new body because his time on earth isn't over with. And Joe wants the body of an athlete. He wants to be a quarterback. He wants to be into the body of a quarterback, but we don't know if that's going to happen. So they try to find him bodies of other people's sports figures that are about to die and kind of know on everyone. Then the last body was this man who's a millionaire. Of course, today would be a billionaire. His name was Leo Farnsworth, and he was poisoned by his wife, Diane Cannon. And she's having an affair with Charles Grodin, and they are trying to kill him because she wants to inherit all the money. He dies, she gets the money, then she'll drop Charles Grodin. He's kind of like a stupid. There's a couple of the funniest lines in the movie, actually. So Mr. Jordan is with Joe Pendleton. He says, you've got to decide quickly. As you can see, he's slowly slipping into the water. There's this big commotion. There's this English woman, Julie Christie. She was in Dr. Zhivago, Somewhere My Love Beautiful. Anyways, she's complaining she must speak to Leo Farnsworth because she's trying to save her town. Apparently this small town in England, because this is the whole Hollywood kind of, it's interesting, politics always play a game. They've been doing this since the 30s. They've been slowly slipping in, after FDR, who's the Democrat, slipping in socialism, this whole idea of hating capitalism, hating the business owner, hating the guy who makes the money. And you know how OAC is saying, AOC is saying how immoral making money is. The only people who should have all the money is the government and be overpaid and tax you to death. Those are the only people morally who need the money. You really look close enough, you're going to find this in all these movies. So he's the bad guy because what he's going to do is he's going to build a plant in Pendlesham, this small town in Wales. He decided to level the entire city of people who've been living there for thousands of years, and elderly people and children that will be displaced, and all of a sudden they care about the elderly and the children. Any place in the world, there's a lot of places in the world you can build a plant. You don't have to level a city that's like Brigadoon or something. It doesn't make any sense, but there's your socialism there. And she demands to see Leo Farnsworth. And Joe said, look, I'm taking this body. Because obviously he's fallen in love with her. It's out of the water, they dress him. Why are you putting a polo outfit on me? Do I play polo? No, sir. You just love the way it looks. And then all of a sudden, Diane Cannon sees him. She screams. Charles Grodin puts his hand over her mouth and drags her out of the room. And then sticks his head in the room. And Julie Christie says, why did she scream? She saw a mouse. Just now? No, earlier. But she relives it. It's really funny. So Leo Farnsworth, Joe Pendleton, comes in and he says, look, I've got a big meeting tomorrow at my tuna company. Come down. I want you to be there. We're going to fix this whole thing. He actually is kind of sounding like Trump. It's kind of weird. It's like a guy who's really rich, but inside he's a regular guy. And he knows how to fix things simply. Just really kind of interesting. So he comes into the meeting. Environmentalists are all upset. Why? Because why are people upset? Why are they angry at my tuna company? Leo's tuna company. Well, because when you catch the tuna, you kill a lot of porpoises, and porpoises are known to have high intelligence. And he said, all right, okay. Then he starts talking like a coach. He's talking to his team, and he's, bringing them up, giving them a little extra zap of life so they win the game, And he goes, look, why don't we be the good guy team, say? We just charge a little more. We'll be the good guy tuna company. Would you pay a penny to save a fish who thinks? That plant in Pendlesham? Well, we're just gonna have to nix that. That's it. We'll build it somewhere else. That's it. Just like that, he's fixed everything. Where it was a complicated, mean, horrible, rich guy who's going to do what he wants to do and kill the porpoises and level the town to build his tuna plant. It makes no sense at all. And now he's just a regular guy and he's fixed everything. And he doesn't sound smart, but he cuts to the chase. He gets to the point, and he's actually quite like Trump at the moment. But anyway, that's back then when Hollywood liked the little guy, hated the business owner, but the little guy was good. But he's also a quarterback making a lot of money. But anyway, that's still fame. Hollywood loves fame. So anyway, they date. Of course, they fall in love. And he tells her, they go out, he brings her to the drive-in to get cheeseburgers. That's what they eat. They could go anywhere, but he gets cheeseburgers. And Diane Cannon is sleeping with Charles Grodin. They hear him coming. He gets out of the bed. He hides behind the drapes. You know, he does a James Comey at the moment. Hides behind the drapes. Joe sticks his head, and Leo sticks his head and says, hey, look, you don't love me. I don't love you. We love other people. Let's get a divorce, okay? Oh, okay, she says. And then he says to Charles Grodin, because he knows he's in there behind the drapes, hey, why don't you get a hold of such and such tomorrow for me? And then Charles Grodin from behind the drapes says, yes, sir, I will. And the door closes, and she'll, why did you answer him? And he goes, his will was too strong. So there you go. Heaven's been working on finding him a body. And they have to figure, they still are trying to figure out how to kill him. She still wants the money. And James Mason, Mr. Jordan, tells Joe, look, your time is up here. This body is done. And he goes, look, I want to live. See, what he had done was he bought the LA Rams. He sounds like he's an absolute fruitcake. He buys the LA Rams, and he bought it with the intention of taking the LA Rams to the Super Bowl as their quarterback. Meanwhile, as you know, he's in the body of this millionaire who is not in shape at all, is probably not very attractive. So he really sounds like an absolute lunatic. And then he practices football in his backyard with his butlers. So he's acting really crazy. So things are working out for him. You know, the team is doing good. He wants to marry Julie Christie. He's in love. And he says, and James Mason shakes his head. It's to Julie Christie. She's about to leave. He goes up to her and says, hey, if somebody comes up to you one day, he might be the quarterback. Look into his eyes. You know, give this guy a chance. So what are you talking about? And then she gets a little scared, and he says to her in her ear, there's nothing to be afraid of. He turns back, and he tries to tell Mr. Jordan, hey, Mr. Jordan, please, you gotta keep me here. Don't do this to me. As he's pleading, that's it. The gun fires. Charles Grodin, right, from the window. And he shoots him, and then he falls into the well. He goes missing. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody knows that he's in the well. And the police are coming in to question everyone. Especially the wife and Charles Grodin are sitting there knowing that they're going to be found out. And then they pull up the bucket. The groundskeeper sees that the bucket in the well is down, so he pulls the bucket up and he finds the body. And they announce that, and Diane Cannon and Charles Grodin both stand up and said, you did it, I knew you. And they kind of like point to each other, and they kind of give the game away. And the coach, the friend, is sitting there, and he's watching the TV because the Super Bowl is on. And so he's paying attention to the TV. He knows his friend, the coach, knew that this was Lou Farnsworth, was Joe Pendleton, because he convinced him. He played the clarinet for him, and he ordered a liver and waist shake, and he cracked his neck, and he said something to him only that the two of them knew. So he's been by his side the whole time, and he's watching the TV. All of a sudden, the quarterback gets fatally injured. He's put on a stretcher, and they're about to take him away. You know, this is the worst thing that could happen. It's the Super Bowl. They're winning the game. He just did one more play, one more touchdown. That's all they need. One more touchdown. And then all of a sudden, he gets up off the stretcher and he runs. They're making the play. He runs. He catches the ball. He makes the touchdown. The guy injured fatally. He's passed out on the stretcher, and then he gets up and he catches the ball, makes the touchdown. We can't believe it. We have never seen anything like this. We thought he was dead. And the funnier thing, before they go out, I think this is just one of the best lines in the whole movie. Before the team goes out, the LA Rams go out to play, the coach is very serious. This is a Super Bowl. And he's given them that talk before they go on the field. So they win, you know. And you know, guys, if you win this game, you're going to be champions of the world. You know, that's right. Champions of the world. It's kind of like the World Series in baseball. Football is only in America, or at least American football is only in America. Champions of the... I was a little girl, I saw this movie, and I'm going, wait a second. So, the coach, his friend, comes in after the game, sees him at the locker and looks at him. He goes, "It's you, Joe, right?" I say, "Yeah, it's me." And his clarinet is sitting there on the bench. Then all of a sudden, Mr. Jordan comes in. Says, "It's time to forget who you are. Now you have to live your life as Tom." I think his name was Tom something or other. Funny, huh? "You're no longer Joe Pendleton. You're no longer Leo Farnsworth. You're no longer Joe Pendleton. You will have no memory. From this moment on, you will have no memory of your life." It's funny, it's a little moving. And he goes, "Wait, no." And then all of a sudden, becomes a different person. He's no longer like this guy who's just a good-hearted guy that's a regular guy, but got a lot of talent. Actually does change personality all of a sudden. And he stands a little bit differently. A little bit more tight-assed, you could say. And he looks at the clarinet, and then he looks at his friend, the coach. "Hey, do you play this thing? Hey, don't joke with me here, Joe. That's yours, you know. What are you calling me, Joe? Kind of lost in the head. Still talking about Joe, aren't you?" And he didn't know what happened. He's walking down the hallway, he's got his bag. Everybody's gone to party. Julie Christie comes in. She just has a feeling to go there that's something, a premonition, because she's trying to figure out what Leo Farnsworth said to her the last time he saw her. And he meets up with her and says, "Can I help you?" And she asked, is Coach, for some reason I forget his name, the coach's name. "Is he here?" "Oh, I don't know. I think he left." And all of a sudden the lights go out. And he whispers in her ear, "It's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of." The lights come back on. And then she looks at him. What you said? For a moment, you sounded like someone I knew." So he looks at her and says, "I don't feel like going to a big party all of a sudden. Would you like to have a cup of coffee with me?" And she looks at him with her her eyes are big and beautiful, and she's got this blonde curly hair. And she looks at him and says, "I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you." Then they walk kitty corner across the empty field. I always cry. They're in the Super Bowl, and they're back in LA. There's a soft spot there for me, but my dog is really looking forward to wearing his 0-0 shirt tonight. I should have 2 dogs, and I think only 1 dog will fit into this, because the dog who usually wears this, as you can see, has got a lot of hair. He's got too much hair. Grew a lot of hair this winter. When it's cold, dogs with a lot of hair, and he's from Tibetan origin, they grow a lot more hair because they know it's going to be a very cold winter. They're preparing themselves. So I think the little pipsqueak, who's part Chihuahua, part Dachshund, and part like several different kinds of terriers, he just looks completely he's got a small head and big body, and his tail is all crooked because he's got all these, and it's got a stripe down his back. He might be wearing that tonight. By right, Tom Brady should have won. Well, the Pats should have won. This should be their 8th Super Bowl at least. But if he wins this, it'll be a 6th. And since 7 is a lucky number, he should really win 7 actually, not 6. But I have a feeling that maybe he'll quit after this year. Supposedly he's been hit on the head. Giselle said that he may have had a concussion. So tonight we may see the end, win or lose, of Tom Brady. The end of the New England Patriots. Then again, when David Ortiz left the Red Sox, he retired, everybody thought, we're never going to see, and that the Red Sox are never going to win another World Series again. And then they did. So who knows? But I think the likelihood, because that's a Spartan Warrior, he really does deserve being the best, because nobody else lives 24 hours a day dedicated to this sport like that. He's unique. We'll never see his like again. So in a way, as much as you hate them, you have to respect them. The likelihood is some other team is going to be the best after this, right? He's going to retire. It's not going to be forever. So nothing is forever. Okay? We hope America is going to last a little longer. And if the LA Rams win, I told you that story, that movie. Go see that movie. Do not remake it Hollywood. It's a beautiful movie. So I'll think of if they win, I'm going to have to watch that movie again and cry. So goodbye, everyone. This was a happier episode. I thought we needed a happier episode tonight. Okay. And I hope the team you want to win wins. But either way, they're both American teams. This is America. Every fan is American. We're all one people. We need to stand by each other and stick up for each other and reach across the aisle to each other. And let's be happy. Whoever wins, let's be happy. Let's hope they don't fix the game and tell someone to throw the game. But don't hate the other side. Let tonight, everyone who loves football, join together, and you gotta love one another, because if you don't have this base of fans that love this sport, the sport would not exist. The sport exists that you love so much, and your team exists because of every other team and all the other fans that contribute to the sport and go to the games. You guys, it's like y'all belong to the same religion, in a way. Like a religion, political party. You're all Americans. There's only one American football. Outside of this country, it's soccer. Okay. There's only one American football, and there's only one country that plays it. And if you don't stand behind the sport, no matter what team wins, be happy, because you love the sport, and the sport still exists. And love each other. And when you stand for that flag, you stand for everyone you know that's lived and died and fought for this country, fought for our freedoms, and they've died. Every color in the world has died fighting for the freedom of America. Every religion has died fighting for the freedom of America. That flag represents you, your family, your neighborhood, your cause. The fact in America we can protest in the streets. We can protest and we can fight for our cause. That the idea of freedom of speech, which is dying, we must let it live so we can still speak out and fight for our cause. Even if we are against that cause, we must listen to them, because you know what? Maybe their side could be right, or a little bit is right. If you listen to them, maybe they'll listen to you, and then you'll understand each other. This is America, and this is the Super Bowl. And let's be Americans. It's been a long time that we've been divided, because if you do unite, we will win. We'll all win. Other countries will win, because the place of freedom and liberty and freedom of speech still stands. Therefore, tonight, there's going to be a winner, and we will all be champions of the world. Good night. Happy Super Bowl. And I hope your team wins. But I'm rooting for you too, no matter which side you're rooting for, and no matter what political party you belong to. I'm rooting for your happiness and your prosperity. God bless you. God bless America. God bless football. God bless the Super Bowl. And God bless chicken wings and everything that will never pass through your body again, ever after tonight. You'll keep this Super Bowl with you, in your heart and in your lower intestine. Okay, good night everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.